The autumn rain painted streaks across the cafe window as Marcus Thompson sat alone in the corner booth of the Golden Bean, his laptop glowing softly in front of him. At 35, he carried the weight of single fatherhood like a badge of honor, though some days that badge felt heavier than others. His daughter Emma's ballet recital photos were scattered across the table, each one a reminder of dreams that had shifted but never shattered. 3 years ago, his wife had walked away, leaving him with a 6-year-old and a heart full of questions. But Marcus had learned something profound in those lonely nights. Broken doesn't mean finished. The cafe was unusually crowded that Thursday afternoon. Students huddled over textbooks, entrepreneurs pitched ideas, and retirees savored their coffee like liquid gold. Every table was occupied, every chair claimed, except for the one across from Marcus. That's when he heard it. "Excuse me, sir?" The voice was soft, almost apologetic, carrying the tremor of someone who had heard no too many times. Marcus looked up from his laptop to see a young woman standing beside his table. She couldn't have been more than 22, with cascading auburn hair that caught the cafe's warm lighting like silk threads dipped in copper. Her eyes were the color of honey, but it was what he noticed next that made his heart pause. She balanced on a single leg, her right prosthetic visible beneath her artistic flowing skirt, decorated with hand-painted butterflies that seemed to dance with every slight movement. In her hand, she held a worn leather portfolio and a half-empty cup of chamomile tea. "Can I sit here?" she asked, her voice barely rising above the cafe's ambient jazz music. "Every other seat is taken, and I have an important meeting in 20 minutes. I just need somewhere to review my presentation." Marcus saw something flicker across her face, something he recognized all too well. It was the expression of someone bracing for rejection, someone who had built walls around their heart, brick by careful brick. The old Marcus might have made an excuse. He had work deadlines, conference calls, a daughter to pick up from school in 2 hours. His table was his sanctuary, his productive space. But the new Marcus, the one sculpted by single parenthood and midnight tears, saw something different. He saw his daughter Emma, who had been bullied last month for her thick glasses. He saw every person who had ever felt different, diminished, or dismissed. He didn't just nod. He didn't just say yes. Marcus stood up, walked around the table, and pulled out the chair across from him with a gentle flourish. "It would be my absolute honor," he said, his voice warm and genuine. "Please make yourself comfortable. Can I get you anything? A refill? Something to eat?" The young woman's eyes widened, glistening with unexpected emotion. She was clearly accustomed to tolerance at best, pity at worst, but genuine kindness seemed to catch her completely off guard. "I'm Marcus," he said, extending his hand as she settled into the chair. "Sophia," she replied, her handshake firm despite her trembling fingers. "Sophia Chen, and thank you." "You have no idea what this means." "Actually," Marcus said, returning to his seat, "I might have some idea." As Sophia arranged her portfolio and notes, Marcus noticed the sketches peeking out from the leather folder. They were breathtaking, fashion designs that combined elegance with accessibility. Clothing that celebrated bodies of all abilities without sacrificing style. "Those are incredible," he said, unable to hide his admiration. Sophia's cheeks flushed with pride and vulnerability. "I'm pitching to Maven Fashion House in 15 minutes. It's a video call. They're one of the biggest adaptive fashion companies in the country, and if they accept my designs—" She paused, her voice catching. "It would change everything." "Tell me about them," Marcus encouraged, closing his laptop to give her his full attention. And Sophia did. She spoke about losing her leg to bone cancer at 17. About the darkness that followed, about the moment she decided that her difference could become her purpose. She talked about sitting in hospital beds, sketching designs for clothes that would make people like her feel beautiful, powerful, and seen. "The fashion industry tells people with disabilities to be grateful for whatever accommodates them," Sophia said, passion igniting in her eyes. I want to create fashion that celebrates them. Glamorous, bold, unapologetic fashion that says you deserve beauty, not just function. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. My daughter Emma, he found himself saying, she's 9 now. Last month, kids made fun of her glasses. She came home crying, asking why she had to be different. He paused, his voice thick with emotion. I told her that different is where magic lives. I told her that the world needs people brave enough to stand out. What did she say? Sophia asked softly. She asked me if I really believed that. Marcus smiled, though tears gathered at the corners of his eyes, and I realized I had to. Because if I don't believe in the beauty of breaking the mold, how can I expect her to? Sophia reached across the table and touched his hand. You're a wonderful father. I'm a trying father, Marcus corrected. That's all any of us can be. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Two strangers connected by the universal language of struggle, resilience, and hope. Sophia's phone buzzed. 5 minutes until her call. I'm terrified, she admitted, her confident facade cracking just slightly. What if they say no? What if they tell me my designs are too bold, too expensive, too niche? Marcus leaned forward, his expression serious and compassionate. Then they're not your people. Sophia, I've been in business for 12 years. I've pitched, failed, succeeded, and failed again. And here's what I've learned. The right opportunity doesn't just accept you, it celebrates you. If Maven doesn't see your brilliance, someone else will. But I have a feeling they're going to love you. How can you be sure? Because 15 minutes ago, you walked into a crowded cafe, found the courage to ask a stranger for a seat, and you're about to pitch the dream you built from your darkest moment. That's not just bravery. That's unstoppable. Sophia's eyes filled with tears that caught the afternoon light like diamonds. I almost didn't come today, she whispered. I almost canceled. I was too scared. But you didn't, Marcus said firmly. You showed up. That's the hard part. The rest is just conversation. Sophia wiped her eyes, careful not to smudge her mascara, and laughed through her tears. You're going to make me cry before the most important call of my life. Then cry, Marcus said gently. Tears aren't weakness. They're proof you care enough to feel everything. As Sophia prepared for her call, Marcus did something unexpected. He opened his wallet and pulled out a small photograph of Emma at her ballet recital, standing tall in her tutu despite being the only girl in her class with glasses. Keep this, he said, sliding it across the table. When you're in that meeting, remember that somewhere there's a little girl who's going to see your designs one day and realize that she doesn't have to be beautiful. You're not just creating fashion, Sophia. You're creating permission. Sophia held the photo like it was made of glass, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. I don't know what to say. Say you'll knock them dead. Sophia smiled through her tears, radiant and powerful. I'll knock them dead. Marcus gathered his things, preparing to give her privacy for the call. But before he left, Sophia grabbed his hand. Marcus, can I ask you something? Anything? Why were you so kind to me? Most people, they either stare or look away. But you saw me, really saw me. Why? Marcus thought about Emma, about the nights he'd questioned every decision, about the loneliness that sometimes felt like drowning. He thought about all the times strangers had shown him unexpected grace when he was fumbling with groceries and a crying child, when he'd forgotten Emma's permission slip, when he'd shown up to parent-teacher conferences as the only single dad. Because someone was kind to me when I needed it most, he said simply. And because the world is hard enough without us making it harder for each other. You deserved that seat, Sophia. You deserved kindness. You deserve everything you're brave enough to reach for. As Marcus walked toward the door, he glanced back one last time. Sophia was on her video call, her face animated and confident, her hands gesturing passionately as she presented her designs. She was luminous. 3 weeks later, Marcus received a package at his office. Inside was a stunning scarf, designed by Sophia Chen for Maven Fashion House, with a note that read, "Marcus, they said yes. Not just to one design, but to my entire collection. I start next month. You told me I deserved everything I was brave enough to reach for. But the truth is, your kindness gave me the courage to reach it all. I've designed a special piece for Emma, something that celebrates her uniqueness. Tell her that her dad was right. Different is where magic lives. With eternal gratitude and hope, Sophia. P.S. The collection is called Golden Bean. In honor of where dreams are born." Marcus held the note against his chest, tears streaming down his face as Emma came running into his office, her glasses slightly crooked, her smile brighter than any spotlight. "Daddy, what's wrong?" she asked, concerned. "Nothing's wrong, sweetheart," Marcus said, pulling her into a tight embrace. "Everything's exactly right. Come here. I want to tell you about the day a brave young woman asked if she could sit down, and how one small act of kindness changed everything." As the evening sun painted gold across the walls, father and daughter sat together, and Marcus told her a story about butterflies, courage, and the extraordinary power of seeing people not for what they lack, but for all the magic they hold inside. Because sometimes the most glamorous thing we can wear isn't designer fashion or expensive jewelry. Sometimes it's simply kindness, wrapped around our hearts like silk.